There is a point in time for all traders, Riz, where you have to say, I'm going to settle on something. I've done this enough where I need to settle on some approach. It's a foundation. You're pouring a foundation for a building, and you say, I've got to settle on some rules here. Yeah. I've got to come to terms with some of these questions that deal with how do I trade. Where you develop that, and you know that you're going to cut losses short. You know you have some provision for letting your profits run, whatever your time frame is. You got to commit to do that, because unless you do that for a year to 2 years, you can't build on it. So build your foundation. You know, most people, they'll change the way they trade based on the outcome of the last trade. Well, if I'd only done this the last trade, it wouldn't work. So I'm going to now do that on the next trade, and it doesn't work. So they keep flipping around from place to place. So I think that, and I have talked to traders after traders, no matter what they do and say, and I call that the Pareto factor. You know, the Alfredo Pareto, Italian philosopher, economist, is the Pareto factor. 20% of events produce 80% of outcomes. Yeah. 20%, 80%. Every real trader I've ever talked to, and they may not have thought about it. Yeah. But when I explain it to them and say, do you have a Pareto factor in your trading? They go, totally. Because no matter how you trade, that's true. But the interesting thing about that is if you take that 20%, so we're talking 8 feet times 20, we're talking a certain number of inches, and you start taking a look at those trades, at least for me as a swing trader, those trades worked right away, and they never looked back. Yeah. And if I were to take those trades and then subdivide them, and the important thing is you have plenty of data. You got to have a lot of data to really be mathematical and statistical in looking at your trading. And I take a look at that data and I say, how many of those really good winning trades would I have lost had I got out of them any day that they had a losing at the close? I don't lose much. They still pretty much are there. And then if I take these trades down at the bottom and say, what would have happened if I would have gotten out of them the first day they had a loss? It changes the whole net of the whole column of paper. Wow. And so that's kind of the way I think of trading, is probability.